All right, now let's talk about how you counter those of us who are trying to crack your passwords. Well, number one, don't use the same password every time. If you have a password that you've been using the same exact password for the last 28 years, well, then you might be hacked, because that's not good. You want to make sure that password actually changes. And you can actually, if you have a network, you can change this at the network level, not allowing users to use the same password over and over again. Disallow password sharing, right? If you have 8 people sharing the same password, that's a compromised password. The first time that password was shared with another person, it was compromised. The next one we have is disallow the use of passwords that can be found in a dictionary. So remember, a dictionary password is not a passphrase that has a dictionary word in it. Like, for instance, if you have a password, the passphrase is correct, horse, battery, staple, 2022, something like that. That's a passphrase. The word horse or correct, those are in the dictionary, but you need the entire password in and of itself to be in the dictionary for it to be dangerous. So that's what we're looking for. Disallow passwords that can be found in a dictionary, the password itself. So if I have a password like dinosaur, it's in the dictionary. If I have a password like motorcycle, that's in the dictionary. All those are bad passwords. Also change, number 4 over here. Don't use clear text protocols and protocols with weak encryption. So don't use anything clear text. So in other words, I don't want to use a protocol where my password is actually able to be seen by a sniffer. Also, change your password. Now, the new NIST says to, instead of using a small complex password like an 8 or 10 character password with lots of complexity that's difficult for a human to memorize, the new NIST guidelines say to create a long passphrase that's easy for a human to memorize, and then change it less often. So, but obviously the more often you change it, the safer it is, right? But the NIST guidelines, the new ones, allow for a longer period between changing, not 30 days, so up to 90 days or even longer in some cases. Don't use any default passwords. Again, there's that bad word. Don't say that bad word. You can say it if you want, but then get rid of it, right? We want to get rid of all the defaults we find on systems. Find a default password, get rid of it, change it. Also, make sure, and again, these are the old rules. The new NIST rules don't say 8 to 12. 8 to 12 is too short for a password with modern computer systems and distributed systems, cloud systems, mainframes, and the onboarding of quantum computer systems. 8 to 12 is not enough. You really need sort of in the 20 character range, a passphrase that you can easily remember, right? So let's say that your family is finally going to go on a great vacation cruise in 2021, right? You can have your passphrase be family, Caribbean, cruise, 2021, yippee, with maybe some special characters in yippee with an exclamation mark, right? That's a long password. Super easy to remember, virtually impossible to crack with modern computer systems. Even if you had a quantum computer, that family vacation passphrase would be very difficult to crack. So, if you're taking an exam, follow what it says in the exam. Like if I was taking the CEH and it says 30 days and 8 to 12 alphanumeric characters, that's what I need to memorize for the exam. But in the real world, you want long passphrases, easy for people to remember, but very difficult for computers to crack. Number 8, ensure that applications don't store passwords. Never write down the password. Do not take your password and put it on a sticky note and put it on the bottom of your keyboard. We know it's there. We know. We just lift it up, we take a picture with our phone, and we've hacked your account. We don't do that. No sticky notes. And And by the way, this is why the NIST changed the guidelines, because if your password is NG, uppercase Y, lowercase Q, 355 dash @ exclamation mark 32, if that's your password, who's going to memorize that? It's very difficult. You're going to want to write it down. But if your password is family, Caribbean, cruise, vacation, 2021, yippee, you remember it, and it's almost unhackable. So much different, but don't write it down. You need a password that you can easily remember, that you don't have to write down, right? Use random string or salt prefix or suffix for your password before encryption. There are salting techniques that you can make use of with certain software for passwords. You can disallow. You don't want the name, just one word. You don't want a one-word password that has just your date of birth or marriage or a child's name or whatever, right? Lockout. If there are too many guesses, like 3 or sometimes up to 5, so sometimes it'll be like if there are 5 missed passwords, it locks the account. Or if there are 3 missed passwords, it locks the account. Also use 2FA, MFA. CAPTCHA is also very nice, because what CAPTCHA does is it stops automated tools from hacking passwords. You've seen these CAPTCHA where it has to prove you're human. One of my favorite new ones, I really love it, is where it says, we need to prove you're human. Please take or look at the following scenario. I don't remember exactly what it says, but it'll say like, find the dragon. And it'll have all these little cartoon characters that are like on top of books, on top of other things. And one of them will be a cartoon character dragon. And there's a cartoon character kitten or whatever. And then you click on the dragon and you hit OK. And then it says, find the dragon again, or say find the kitten, or find the puffy cloud or whatever. And they're little cartoon drawings. I thought that was a really cool little CAPTCHA. Very difficult for an AI or deep learning model to very easily figure out. So that's what we're trying to do, is block AI, deep learning machine models, quantum assisted AI or whatever, from being able to read these and only get humans like you or me, unless you're an AI watching this class. All right, so that brings us to the end of this module. And we looked at password cracking, looked at some authentication mechanisms that can be cracked. We looked at password attacks of various types. I've used these in many different contexts. Usually they are used for pen testing and for capture the flag of fun computer scenarios where you run attacks on things. And there are tools that you use. We talked about tools like THC Hydra, John the Ripper, Mimikatz for Active Directory. And we looked at some of the countermeasures, things that you can do to protect your passwords from attacks. And what I would like you to think about in terms of your password, don't just think about the password on your desktop or your laptop. Think about every password you use for your phone, for your Wi-Fi, for any connection that you make. There may be one that escapes your notice. So you have to kind of churn through all the methods and ways that you log into resources and make sure that for each one of those, you're using a long passphrase. When somebody comes up to your house and they say, hey, what's your Wi-Fi password? Fido should not be your answer, right? It should be McGillicuddy Home Network 2022. Something like that. That's a nice passphrase that you can use for a home network. In the next module, we're going to look at social engineering, hacking the human operating system 1.0. Some of the techniques for social engineering and some of the countermeasures for social engineering. So why don't you join me there in just a few minutes?